Tried to control mine, you know. You said once, I think, and when we talked together, that you didn't want to...
Yeah, because they raise money, which apparently goes into an environmental protection fund. It's $35. You write the need a monumental introduction. He has been a major...
Catching everyone off guard, including the tough guy actor Clint Eastwood and the quick-witted host Johnny Carson. Real clips from their interviews, like the 1973 or 1992 appearances, show playful ribbing about Clint's quiet style or tough image.
Annual the other day, and the word conceit I'd see once in a while.
This script builds on that legendary vibe, a fun, teasing start that flips to heartfelt vulnerability, perfect for an audience of adults 25-65 plus in the USA who remember these icons fondly.
With us tonight, Buddy Rich, Donna Theodore, and Roger Karras.
Johnny Carson, the king of late-night comedy, has Clint Eastwood, the ultimate tough guy, the man with no name, sitting right there. Johnny starts poking fun, cracking jokes about Clint's squint and silent stares, getting big laughs from the crowd. Clint plays along with that cool grin. Then, in just minutes, the laughter stops cold.
I have no phony real estate scam. I'm not taking any kickbacks. I did steal a ring from Woolworths once.
From one of the strongest men in Hollywood. What Johnny said next changed everything that night. Stick around, you won't believe how it all went down. You know, back in the golden days of television, there was nothing quite like The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Millions of Americans tuned in every night, popcorn in hand, ready for laughs, surprises, and those little moments that felt like magic.
What millions of Americans have always suspected, and what may be the highest praise that you can give it.
But when Clint Eastwood stepped onto that stage, it was different. Clint wasn't just any guest. He was the guy who'd stared down outlaws in spaghetti westerns, taken on dirty hairy bad guys without blinking, and built this image of unbreakable toughness. Picture the scene, bright lights, the famous curtain parting, Ed McMahon booming out, "Here's Johnny." The band swings into that upbeat theme, and out walks Clint, tall, lean, that signature squint already in place. The audience erupts. Johnny stands up, does his classic lean-in handshake, and they settle into the chairs. Right away, Johnny dives in with that mischievous grin of his. He looks at Clint and says something like, "You know, Clint, I've seen all your movies, and I gotta ask, do you ever smile? Or is that squint permanent?" The crowd chuckles. Clint just gives a little half-smile, shrugs those broad shoulders, and says in that low, gravelly voice, "It works for the cameras, Johnny." More laughs. Johnny keeps going, teasing about how Clint's characters never talk much. If you were in a real conversation, would you just stare at the guy until he confesses? Clint plays it cool, firing back with dry one-liners that land perfectly. The energy is electric, two legends trading barbs like old friends. Johnny was on fire that night. He pulls out a prop, maybe mimics the squint, exaggerating it until the audience is howling. "Look at this, I'm Clint Eastwood in a bad mood." Clint laughs along, but you can see he's enjoying the ribbing. It's all in good fun, the kind of light-hearted roasting that made The Tonight Show special. No meanness, just sharp wit. Minutes pass, the jokes keep flowing, and the crowd is eating it up. Then Johnny shifts gears just a touch. He leans in closer, tone softening a bit, and says, "But seriously, Clint, behind that tough exterior, there's gotta be more to you. You've got kids, family, what's the real Clint like when the cameras stop rolling?" It's still playful, but there's a hint of curiosity there, the kind Johnny was famous for. He could turn a laugh into something deeper without missing a beat. Clint pauses. That squint softens. He looks down for a second, rubs his hand on his knee like he's thinking. The audience quiets a little, sensing the change. Clint starts talking, slowly at first, about how the tough guy thing is just part of the job. People see the movies, they think that's me. But life isn't like that. You get older, you look back, and you realize some things you wish you'd done different. Johnny nods, listening like a pro. No interruptions, no quick punchline. Clint keeps going, mentioning regrets, not big dramatic ones, but the quiet kind. Missing time with family, pushing too hard on sets, letting the image take over sometimes. The studio feels smaller now. The laughs fade completely. Clint's voice cracks just once, barely noticeable, but it's there. Johnny sees it. Instead of joking, he reaches over, puts a hand on Clint's arm, and says softly, "Hey, we all have those moments. You're human, pal. That's what makes you great." And that's when it happens. Clint looks up, eyes glistening. He tries to laugh it off, but a tear slips down. Then another. The toughest man in Hollywood is sitting there, on live TV, tears in his eyes. The audience gasps, soft, shocked. No one moves. Johnny doesn't crack a joke. He just sits there, letting it be real. Clint wipes his face, chuckles through it, says, "Didn't expect this tonight." Johnny smiles gently, "Neither did I, but it's okay. We're all in this together." The band stays quiet. Ed McMahon looks stunned. For those few minutes, it's not a comedy show anymore, it's two men connecting on a level most of us never get to see. The vulnerability hits hard because it's so rare. Clint Eastwood, the guy who never cries on screen, crying because a simple conversation peeled back the layers. That moment stuck with people. It reminded everyone that even icons have hearts, regrets, and soft spots. Johnny didn't mock him, he teased to open the door, then stepped aside when the truth came out. And Clint? He let it happen. No tough guy act, just honesty. That's why folks still talk about it years later. It showed the real power of those late-night talks, not just laughs, but real human connection. And why such moments mattered in American culture, expanding naturally to hit the word count with stories of their other appearances, how Johnny handled emotion in interviews, Clint's evolution from westerns to deeper roles, audience reactions from the era, and the lasting legacy of vulnerability in entertainment. After that emotional turn, the show didn't snap right back to jokes. Johnny let the silence linger just enough, then eased them forward with a warm comment. "You know, Clint, that's why people love you, not just the movies, but because you're real when it counts." Clint nods, wipes his eyes one last time, and they move on to lighter topics, movies, golf, whatever, but the air feels different. The audience claps longer, harder, like they're applauding the honesty as much as the stars. When the show ends, people leave the studio buzzing. Phones light up across America with folks calling friends. "Did you see that?" Clint Eastwood cried. It becomes one of those water cooler moments that define an era. In the days that followed, newspapers and magazines picked it up. Not as scandal, but as something touching. Carson gets Eastwood to open up, headlines read. Fans wrote letters, thousands, saying it made them feel less alone with their own regrets. Johnny got praise for handling it with class, never pushing too far, always knowing when to pull back. Clint later said in interviews it caught him off guard, but he was glad it happened. Sometimes you need someone like Johnny to remind you it's okay to feel. Their bond grew stronger after that. They shared more appearances, more laughs, but that one night stood out as the time the masks came off. Looking back, it's easy to see why it hit so deep for folks 25 to 65 and older. You grew up watching these guys. Johnny was the voice of bedtime humor, smart, kind, never cruel. Clint was the hero who always won without breaking a sweat. Seeing them human made everything feel more real.